Imagine waking up in a world where the United States never existed. No Hollywood dominating global cinema. No Silicon Valley leading the tech revolution. No dollar as the world's most powerful currency. Maybe the most powerful country today would be China. Or perhaps Europe would still be ruled by massive empires. Even things we take for granted, like hamburgers, blue jeans, or modern pop culture, might never have become global icons. All of this could depend on one historical moment. What if Christopher Columbus had never sailed across the Atlantic Ocean? What if his ships had never left Spain? Or what if his voyage had failed? Who would have discovered the American continents instead? Would the United States exist today? Or could the Americas have developed into completely different civilizations? Today, we're going to explore one of the most fascinating alternate history scenarios. What if Columbus never discovered America? But before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. It helps the video reach more people who enjoy history and alternate timeline stories like this. Now, to understand how everything could have changed, we first need to look at what actually happened. To understand the importance of Columbus's voyage, we need to travel back to the late 15th century. At this time, Europe was undergoing a major transformation. Trade with Asia was extremely valuable. Spices such as pepper, cinnamon, and cloves were incredibly expensive in Europe. Silk, porcelain, and other goods from Asia were also highly prized. But there was a problem. The land trade routes connecting Europe and Asia were controlled by powerful empires, particularly the Ottoman Empire. Because of this, European kingdoms began searching for new sea routes to Asia. Portugal became one of the leaders of maritime exploration. Portuguese sailors were slowly mapping the coast of Africa, hoping to reach India by sailing around the continent. But one navigator had a different idea. The Italian explorer, Christopher Columbus, believed it was possible to reach Asia by sailing west across the Atlantic Ocean. Most scholars believed the distance would be far too great, but Columbus believed the Earth was smaller than it actually is. After years of trying to convince different European rulers, Columbus finally gained support from the Spanish monarchy. In 1492, he set sail with 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. After more than 2 months at sea, the expedition reached islands in the Caribbean. Columbus believed he had reached Asia, but in reality, he had encountered an entirely different continent. This voyage started a chain reaction that changed the world forever. European nations began colonizing the Americas. Gold and silver flowed into Europe. New plants, animals, and cultures spread between continents in what historians call the Columbian Exchange. Over time, European colonies spread across North and South America. Eventually, British colonies in North America declared independence in 1776, forming the country known today as the United States. But what if this entire chain of events had never begun? Let's imagine a different timeline. In this version of history, Spain decides not to fund Columbus's expedition. Maybe the Spanish monarchs believed the voyage was too risky. Maybe the kingdom had more urgent problems in Europe. Without royal funding, Christopher Columbus never receives his ships. The expedition never happens, and the Atlantic Ocean remains largely unexplored by Europeans. This single decision could delay European contact with the Americas by decades or even an entire century. But eventually, someone else would likely discover the continent. The question is, who? Portuguese scenario. Portugal was the world leader in ocean exploration at the time. The explorer Vasco da Gama eventually found a sea route to India by sailing around Africa. Portuguese sailors regularly sailed deep into the Atlantic. During one of these journeys, a fleet might have accidentally reached South America. If that had happened, large parts of the Americas might have become Portuguese colonies. Instead of Spanish and English influence, much of the continent might speak Portuguese today. The English scenario. Another possible discoverer was John Cabot. Cabot actually sailed to parts of North America in 1497 under the English flag. In this alternate timeline, Cabot might have been the first European to reach the continent. England might have colonized North America much earlier and more extensively. A Viking return. Long before Columbus, Vikings had already reached North America. The explorer Leif Erikson landed there around the year 1000. But the Viking settlements disappeared. In another timeline, Scandinavian explorers might have returned and established lasting colonies. When Europeans arrived in the Americas in real history, they encountered powerful civilizations. These included the Aztec Empire, the Inca Empire. These societies had advanced cities, complex governments, and impressive engineering achievements. But the arrival of Europeans brought war, colonization, and devastating diseases. Millions of indigenous people died. However, if Europeans had not arrived in 1492, these civilizations might have survived and continued to grow. The Aztec Empire might have expanded across Central America. The Inca might have continued building vast road systems and cities across South America. Over time, these societies might have developed new technologies, stronger states, and larger trade networks. The discovery of the Americas transformed the global economy. Massive silver mines in the Americas sent huge amounts of wealth to Europe. This helped European empires grow powerful. Without those resources, Spain might never have become a dominant global empire. European expansion might have been much slower. Meanwhile, other civilizations might have remained powerful. For example, China and the Ottoman Empire might have continued dominating global trade. If the Americas had not been colonized in the same way, the modern world could look very different. The United States might not exist. The American Revolution might never have happened. Without the United States, global leadership in technology might belong to Europe, China, or Japan. Global culture might also look very different without Hollywood and American media. If Christopher Columbus had never sailed west, the modern world map might look completely different. Imagine a world where a powerful Aztec federation controls Central America. An advanced Inca state dominates South America. Dozens of indigenous nations exist across North America. Instead of colonization, Europe might have formed trade partnerships with these civilizations. Columbus's voyage triggered a wave of exploration. Without it, the age of exploration might have developed much more slowly. European powers might have focused on Africa and Asia instead. The Indian Ocean Trade Network might have remained the center of global commerce. Without wealth from the Americas, Europe might not have dominated the world for centuries. China, with its huge economy and advanced technology, might have remained the world's most powerful civilization. The global balance of power might look completely different today. Today, English and Spanish are global languages largely because of colonization in the Americas. Without Columbus's voyage, indigenous languages such as Nahuatl or Quechua might be far more influential. Even global food culture will be different. Many foods originally came from the Americas, including potatoes, tomatoes, corn, chocolate, chili peppers. Without the Columbian exchange, famous dishes like Italian tomato pasta or spicy Asian food might never have existed. There is an even more fascinating possibility. What if civilizations in the Americas had eventually developed advanced ships and navigation? If that happened, explorers from the Aztec or Inca civilizations might have crossed the Atlantic. Instead of Europeans discovering America, America might have discovered Europe. History often depends on small decisions and unexpected events. One voyage, 3 ships, and the ambition of Christopher Columbus. If that voyage had never happened, the world we live in today might look completely different. Maybe the United States would not exist. Maybe Europe would not have dominated global history. And maybe powerful civilizations in the Americas would still shape the modern world. So here's a question for you. If Columbus had never sailed west in 1492, who do you think would have discovered the Americas first? Write your theory in the comments. And if you enjoy alternate history stories like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Because history is full of moments where a single decision could have created an entirely different world. Globe showing Europe, Africa.